Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are doing something a little different.
Yeah, definitely not our usual territory.
We aren't looking at a tech giant. We aren't breaking down a new scientific discovery.
Oh, political movements?
Nope. We are spinning the globe, setting the time circuits back to 2009, and dropping ourselves right into the middle of Caracas, Venezuela.
But not just anywhere in Caracas.
No, we're going to high school.
Specifically, an urban high school that serves as the battlefield for the high-stakes, high-emotion world of the juvenile telenovela clase de amor.
Which translates to what kind of love? And before you tune out thinking this is just about, teen angst and prom dates, hear me out.
Right.
We've pulled the production notes, the casting sheets, all of it.
Yeah.
And what we found isn't just a soap opera. It's this fascinating case study in how media builds social hierarchies.
It really is. We're looking at the classic Casanova versus nerd trope.
But with this very specific late 2000s Latin American energy.
It's a total time capsule. And to set the stage, you have to look at the pedigree. This wasn't some small indie project.
No, not at all.
This was produced by Venevisión with BCC Producciones, created by Benjamin Cohen. And Venevisión is, it's a titan in the industry.
So this was a machine. It was designed to capture a youth demographic.
A demographic that was becoming a massive cultural force in the region right at that time.
Exactly. So for the next 15 minutes, consider us your cultural anthropologists. We're going to break down the warring factions, the incredibly literal character names.
Oh, they're very literal.
And my absolute favorite part, how a boy band serves as the primary villain.
It's a unique narrative device for sure. We'll definitely get to the singing villains.
Okay, good.
But first, we should probably establish the mission for this deep dive. We're just recapping a show.
Right. We're exploring how these stories use music and rivalry to, drive the whole narrative forward.
Precisely.
So let's start with the setting. The source material just calls it an urban high school.
Yeah, which sounds simple enough. But looking at the plot summaries, it feels less like a school and more like a pressure cooker.
That's the perfect word for it.
Well, that's the intent of the genre. The notes describe it as a place filled with adolescents experiencing specific emotional extremes.
Joys, sorrows, love, triumphs.
All of it. The writers aren't interested in a realistic depiction of, passing a geography test.
No, the school is a stage. Every single hallway interaction is high drama.
And that performance is organized into a kind of caste system that is delightfully unsubtle.
It really is. In American shows, you get these vague cliques, right? The jocks, the plastic.
It's skaters, yeah.
Here, the show just explicitly names the two main factions. No nuance. First up, Los Populares.
The popular ones.
Yeah.
Doesn't get much clearer than that.
You know exactly who they are and where they sit in the cafeteria.
And the leader of Los Populares is our protagonist, Diego Padilla, played by Andres Gomez.
The character breakdown on him is fascinating. It doesn't just say he's cool. It calls him a Casanova.
And that's a key distinction.
Yeah.
His defining trait isn't that he plays a sport or has the best car.
Right.
His power comes from the fact that he makes all the girls fall in love with him. He's at the top of the food chain because he's desired.
Which makes the opposing faction so much more interesting. If you have the Casanovas, you need a counterbalance. And this show gives us Las Nerdas.
The nerds! Again, the show is not trying to hide its archetypes.
No, it's putting them in neon lights, and honestly, I appreciate the directness.
It saves time.
It does.
Yeah.
And the leader of Las Nerdas is Alejandra Martínez, played by Aisha Stambuli.
And she is the classic new girl. The notes describe her as brilliant and clever. So you have this setup, right? The force of social dominance, Diego, versus the force of intellect, Alejandra.
It's the unstoppable force meets the immovable object.
Sort of, yeah.
But usually in this kind of story, think Grease. She's all that. The whole thing kicks off with romance.
Love at first sight.
The cool guy sees the new girl. She takes off her glasses. Boom. But that's not what happens here, is it? It's much more transactional.
It is. The love at first sight thing is totally subverted. Diego doesn't approach Alejandra because he likes her or thinks she's secretly beautiful.
He approaches her because he's failing his classes.
He needs her help with his studies.
I love that. It completely flips the power dynamic from the start. The king of the school actually depends on the outcast to survive.
Precisely. It disrupts the hierarchy in episode 1. He has to go to Las Nerdas for academic survival.
And the source material says she slowly conquers Diego's heart.
Yeah, it's not a lightning bolt. It's a slow burn that comes out of study sessions. It implies that her intellect is what actually seduces the Casanova.
But this is a telenovela. It ran for 83 episodes.
Right.
You can't just have study dates for that long. You need friction. You need obstacles. And the biggest obstacle is usually the current girlfriend.
Enter Stephanie Mendoza, played by Mayela Caldera.
And the production notes are, well, they aren't very nice to Stephanie.
They're pretty brutal. She's described as the prettiest and most spoiled girl in the school.
But from a writing perspective, she serves a really critical function. The text says she's the complete opposite of the type of girl Diego should be with.
So she represents the status quo.
Exactly. Stephanie is the anchor keeping him tied to Los Populares. She's the superficial popularity he's supposed to grow out of.
If he stays with her, he stays stagnant. If he chooses Alejandra, he evolves. It's a very moralistic setup.
Okay, so we have the jealous girlfriend archetype. But this is where the show takes a turn into something really special. We need to talk about the main villain, because Stephanie is an obstacle, but she's not the antagonist. That title belongs to a guy with maybe the most ominous nickname in high school history, Alan Camacho.
A.K.A. Alacran.
Which translates to Scorpion.
Subtlety was not the goal in the writer's room.
I'm just saying, if a guy in homeroom introduces himself as the Scorpion, maybe don't lend him your pencil.
Really good call. But what drives him, it's not just, evil for evil's sake.
No, it's actually pretty grounded in teenage angst.
It is. The source points to this complex web of jealousy. So Alan is jealous of Diego's popularity. He wants to be the king.
But the real kicker.
The real kicker is that he's secretly in love with Stephanie, the girlfriend we just talked about.
The one who rejected him. So he hates the guy who has the girl he wants.
A classic triangle, but twisted. But what really distinguishes Alan isn't his motivation. It's his method.
Right.
He belongs to a group called Los Alacranes, the Scorpions. And the source material notes something really specific about this group. They aren't fighters.
They aren't delinquents.
They're noted specifically as being composed of singers.
Wait, hold on. I want to make sure I'm getting this right. The villain gang is a boy band.
Essentially, yes. The antagonism is expressed through performance.
That is incredible. It implies that the way to destroy your enemy isn't to fight them behind the gym, but to outsing them.
I'm going to ruin your life, but first let me hit this high note and do a spin.
The stakes are serious for them, though. Alan sets a trap.
He does. The plot summary says he sets a trap for Alejandra, but the goal is to completely ruin Diego's image and reputation in the school.
And reputation is everything in high school. It's currency.
Exactly. If Diego's the leader of Los Populares, his image is his currency. Alan's going right for his bank account.
And doing it through a group of singers suggests that public performance humiliation, diss tracks, that's the weapon of choice here.
Well, let's pull on that thread, the music.
Yes, let's. Because looking at the musical themes section of our records, music isn't just background noise in this show.
Not at all. It's like the entire narrative is built around a musical landscape. When you look at the track list, you see this very distinct use of leitmotifs.
So specific songs are assigned to specific characters?
Specific dynamics, yeah. It cues the audience on how to feel about a scene, like a musical map of the relationships.
Okay, give me an example.
The main theme of the show is the title track, clase de amor. And notice who performs it.
Manuel Arad and Aisha Stambouli? Wait a minute. Manuel Arad plays Alan, the villain Scorpion, and Aisha plays Alejandra, the heroine.
Right.
So the villain and the hero are singing the theme song together.
It's a fascinating meta layer, right? It blurs the line between character and performer, which is really common in this genre.
So while they're enemies in the plot, they're partners in the spectacle.
Exactly. But look at the love themes. Alejandra and Diego, they don't get one song, they get two. Quien diría and Masala.
Quien diría? Who would have said that fits the popular guy dates nerd girl vibe perfectly.
Right. Who would have guessed we'd end up together? The song title tells you the plot, and it trickles down to the supporting cast.
I see a song here, Mi Niña Bonita, for characters named Tita and Manu.
Then there's Enamorarte de Él for Andrea and Rafa, and Loco por ti for Desire and Felix.
So if you hear the song, you know who is hooking up or breaking up.
And you have to remember the diegetic element. Since Los Alatranes are singers in the story, music is happening inside the reality of the show.
Plus, the lead actress, Aisha Stambouli, has solo tracks listed.
Yeah, Esta vez and Mi Centro, which is used in the very first chapter.
So Alejandra isn't just a nerd, she's a nerd with a solo career.
It creates this interesting duality. In the plot, She's the academic outsider, but the production elevates her through music to be the star. She has the voice.
I love that. Okay, let's zoom out a bit. We've got the plot, the singing villains. Let's talk about the people who made this thing. 83 episodes is a serious commitment.
It is. The show ran from April 20th, 2009 to August 14th of the same year. That is a daily grind.
And to sustain that, you had a writing team led by Benjamin Cohen with Ana Teresa Sosa, Veronica Alvarez, and Gemis Perez.
And directed by Grazia D'Angelo and Manuel Diaz Casanova. It takes a village to produce a daily telenovela at that pace.
Speaking of a village, I have to give a shout out to some of the supporting cast names listed here. I mean, we talked about Alacran, but there's a character named Marcel Jimenez who has the nickname El Destripador.
The Ripper?
In a high school show. The Ripper, I desperately need to know if he was a horror movie fan or if he just like aggressively graded papers.
Or maybe he was just really messy with his notebook paper. It definitely sets a tone.
And then you have Tita, played by Giannina Alves. And this one is my favorite, a special guest character, Professor Narciso, played by Samir Batsi, who is listed with the nickname El Papi Profe.
Which, it roughly translates to the daddy professor or the body professor.
The Papi Profe. Even the faculty isn't safe from the melodrama.
It just reinforces that idea of the school as a stage for desire. Nobody is just doing their job. Everyone is part of the romantic web.
And presiding over all this chaos, the Scorpions, the Rippers, the Papi Profes is the principal, La Directora Ana Maria Sosa.
Someone has to try and manage that circus.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned earlier this show is part of a legacy. When we look at the list of Venevisión telenovelas, where does this one fit in?
It's important to see the bigger picture. Venevisión has this long, storied history. I mean, they've been making telenovelas since the 1960s.
Right, like Luchacita in 1967.
And then this massive explosion of content in the 80s and 90s shows like Ligia Elena, Carasucia. But those were largely adult melodramas.
About wealthy families fighting over an inheritance, that kind of thing.
Exactly. But in the late 2000s, you see this trend shift. Just before Que clase de amor, from 2007 to 2009, there was a show called Somos Tú y Yo.
It's You and Me.
And that was massive youth hit. It was basically the Venezuelan high school musical.
So Que clase de amor was likely riding that wave.
It seems so. It launched in 2009, right as the other show was ending its run. It was part of this whole cohort of 2009 debuts.
Like Alma Indomable and Los Misterios del Amor.
Venevisión was clearly firing on all cylinders, trying to capture that youth demographic they'd primed. They realized teenagers were a lucrative market.
It's interesting to see how those genres cycle. It really mirrors what was happening in the U.S. with Disney Channel around the same time.
And the legacy continues. If you look at the bottom of the source list, under the 2020s, there's a 2023 title called Dramaticus. The machine is still running.
So what does this all mean? We've got a study date turn romance sabotaged by a boy band and a school with the Ripper and the Papi Prof.
Right.
Is it just campy fun, or is there a deeper takeaway here?
I think Que clase de amor represents this moment where the genre really understood that school's just a stage. It blends traditional telenovela structures with the energy of a musical.
It acknowledges that for teenagers, identity is a performance.
It really is. I mean, when you're 16, you're performing constantly.
You have the populares performing coolness. The Alacranes are literally performing songs to assert their dominance.
Even the nerdas are performing intelligence. The show uses these big, exaggerated tropes to talk about how we define ourselves when we're young.
And it does it with a soundtrack.
Always with a soundtrack.
Right.
The emotions are just too big to be spoken. They have to be sung.
So we've gone from a tutoring session to a full-blown sociological analysis of Venezuelan teen media. Not bad for a deep dive.
That's what we do.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave you, the listener, with one final thought. We talked about how rigid the groups are. The populars, the nerds, the Scorpions.
Very structured.
It seems that way, but remember the inciting incident. The leader of the populars realizes he cannot survive without the help of the nerds.
It completely disrupts the hierarchy from the very beginning.
Exactly. So here's the thought. In a story where the villains are singers and the cool kids are academically dependent on the outcasts, is the social hierarchy even real? Or is it just a performance everyone agreed to put on?
That's a great question.
If the king needs a tutor to pass 10th grade, is he really the king? Or is he just the guy with the best hair?
It suggests the whole thing is fragile, held together only by agreement.
Something to think about. Thank you for joining us on this trip back to 2009.
It was a pleasure to explore this world with you.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive. Stay curious.